Leiderschap komt je niet aanwaaien. Het vraagt inzet, discipline en al je aandacht. Het zit in je, maar dat betekent niet dat het er vanzelf uitkomt. Daarom kies je voor de studie voor leiders, waar je leert denken, doen en doorzetten. Waar je kapot gaat, losgaat, knokt, valt en weer opstaat. Om dat te bereiken moet je alles geven. Jezelf tegenkomen, incasseren en je lat nog hoger leggen. Zo word je de leider die je zelf zou volgen. Want na je universitaire studie bij Defensie begin je meteen als officier, als leider.
Werken bij Defensie. Je moet het maar kunnen. Ontdek wat jij kunt betekenen voor vrede en veiligheid. Kijk voor vacatures en opleidingsmogelijkheden op werkenbijdefensie.nl.
Nou, ik werkte als programmeur en vormgever bij een bedrijf. Maar elke dag achter de computer zitten, dat is gewoon niet mijn ding. Ik zocht juist meer uitdaging in mijn werk. Uiteindelijk heb ik via Facebook bij werkenbijdefensie.nl heb ik een advertentie gezien. En ik denk, ja, ik ben 27 en ik kan nu nog aanmelden. En liever nu dan dat ik later zeg, had ik maar. Als ICT-officier geef je leiding aan een peloton. Zo krijg ik een opdracht vanuit de staf. Deze speel ik door naar het peloton en uiteindelijk voeren we deze opdracht uit. Daarin heb ik geen uitvoerende taak, maar ben ik juist degene die de taak monitort en waar nodig bijstuurt. En uiteindelijk zodat de opdracht gerealiseerd kan worden. Toen ik begon bij de KMA had ik nog geen ervaring met leidinggeven. Maar op de KMA in het eerste jaar leer je zoveel. Daar komt vooral bij kijken, camoufleren, schieten, overleven. Allemaal nieuwe dingen, maar uiteindelijk ook een stukje leiding geven. Ik geef leiding aan een peloton van ongeveer 40 mannen en 2 vrouwen. Leeftijd variërend van 18 jaar tot 50 jaar. Dat is best lastig, vanwege het feit dat je met iedereen anders moet communiceren. Maar uiteindelijk is het wel de bedoeling dat ik met het peloton dezelfde kant op ga. Inmiddels gaat me dat behoorlijk goed af. We vormen een sterk team waarmee we leuk kunnen samenwerken. Ik haal mijn voldoening uit het succesvol afronden van projecten. En uiteindelijk is natuurlijk het doel om op missie te mogen. Het lijkt me namelijk super mooi om alles wat je hebt geleerd en toegepast hebt op het werkveld daadwerkelijk ook op missie te kunnen uitvoeren.
If it's digital, it's part of ICT. ICT, short for Information and Communications Technology, or technologies, is a huge umbrella term. Though there's no universal definition, ICT generally refers to all devices, networking components, applications, and systems that facilitate interaction with the digital world. Sometimes ICT is used interchangeably with IT, or information technology. But ICT is more comprehensive, including more components related to computers and digital technologies. Components include data, internet access, cloud computing, software, hardware, transactions, and communications technology. But more importantly, ICT encompasses combinations and applications of those components. ICT has drastically changed how people work, communicate, learn, and live, and continues to revolutionize all parts of the human experience, from computers to robots. And ICT contributes greatly to economic development. Some have labeled it the fourth industrial revolution. Within the ICT market, the advancement of ICT capabilities has made the development and delivery of various technologies cheaper for vendors and their customers, while also providing new market opportunities. For businesses, advances within ICT have brought a slew of cost savings, opportunities, and conveniences, ranging from highly automated, cost-cutting business processes, to the big data revolution that leads to new insights, products, and services, to ICT-driven transactions like online shopping, telemedicine, and social media. However, ICT is not without its downsides. The digitization of data has led to new levels of crime, automation tools and robots that can displace workers, and many believe ICT has stifled human interaction. What do you think? Has ICT caused us to be less human? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to hit that like button too.
Presenting the ITU Global Study on the Impact of ICTs on the Achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The book ICT for SDGs, ICT-Centric Economic Growth, Innovation and Job Creation addresses the opportunities information and communication technologies offer and provides insights and direction on how to encourage and facilitate collaborative digital entrepreneurship. It offers practical examples to leapfrog the innovation gap to ensure sustainability and create new job opportunities. The study offers a roadmap with practical strategies for utilizing advances in ICTs to foster an environment that nourishes ICT-centric innovation, economic growth and social change, consistent with the Sustainable Development Goals. Its holistic and integrated view makes the study a comprehensive resource for all stakeholders within the ICT ecosystem, including policymakers, regulators, operators, academics, funding agencies, regional and international organizations, financial institutions and citizens to encourage collective action towards sustainable development. ICT for SDGs, ICT-centric economic growth, innovation and job creation. Visit www.itu.int/ICT Impact-Study.
In this video, I'm going to answer the top 3 questions my students ask me about Python. What is Python? What you can do with it? And why is it so popular? In other words, what does it do that other programming languages don't? Python is the world's fastest growing and most popular programming language, not just amongst software engineers, but also amongst mathematicians, data analysts, scientists, accountants, network engineers, and even kids, because it's a very beginner-friendly programming language. So people from different disciplines use Python for a variety of different tasks, such as data analysis and visualization, artificial intelligence and machine learning, automation. In fact, this is one of the big uses of Python amongst people who are not software developers. If you constantly have to do boring, repetitive tasks, such as copying files and folders around, renaming them, uploading them to a server, you can easily write a Python script to automate all that and save you time. And that's just one example. If you continuously have to work with Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, CSV files, download websites and parse them, you can automate all that stuff with Python. So you don't have to be a software developer to use Python. You could be an accountant, a mathematician, or a scientist and use Python to make your life easier. You can also use Python to build web, mobile, and desktop applications, as well as software testing or even hacking. So Python is a multi-purpose language. Now, if you have some programming experience, you may say, but Mosh, we can do all this stuff with other programming languages. So what's the big deal about Python? Here are a few reasons. With Python, you can solve complex problems in less time with fewer lines of code. Here's an example. Let's say we want to extract the first 3 letters of the text "Hello World." This is the code we have to write in C#. This is how we do it in JavaScript. And here's how we do it in Python. See how short and clean the language is? And that's just the beginning. Python makes a lot of trivial things really easy with a simple yet powerful syntax. Here are a few other reasons why Python is so popular. It's a high-level language, so you don't have to worry about complex tasks such as memory management like you do in C++. It's cross-platform, which means you can build and run Python applications on Windows, Mac, and Linux. It has a huge community, so whenever you get stuck, there is someone out there to help. It has a large ecosystem of libraries, frameworks, and tools, which means whatever you want to do, it is likely that someone else has done it before, because Python has been around for over 20 years. So in a nutshell, Python is a multi-purpose language with a simple, clean, and beginner-friendly syntax. All of that means Python is awesome. Technically, everything you do with Python you can do with other programming languages, but Python's simplicity and elegance has made it grow way more than other programming languages. That's why it's the #1 language employers are looking for. So whether you are a programmer or an absolute beginner, learning Python opens up lots of job opportunities to you. In fact, the average Python developer earns a whopping $116,000 a year. If you found this video helpful, please support my hard work by liking it and sharing it with others. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I have a couple of awesome Python tutorials for you. You're going to see them on the screen now. Here's my Python tutorial for beginners. It's a great starting point if you have limited or no programming experience. On the other hand, if you do have some programming experience and want to quickly get up to speed with Python, I have another tutorial just for you. I'm not going to waste your time telling you what a variable or a function is. I will talk to you like a programmer. There's never been a better time to master Python programming. So click on the tutorial that is right for you and get started. Thank you for watching.
Hey, Tech Lead here, and welcome to another episode of the Tech Lead. I am the ex-Google Tech Lead. Today we are going to be covering the top 7 highly effective habits of programmers. It's coffee time. Now, the funny thing is that programming is the sort of career that if you don't do it right, if you don't go in there with the right habits and the right skills, you're going to mess yourself up pretty badly, pretty seriously. They burn out, they become very strange, and people start saying that they have Asperger's. Maybe some of those people got to start YouTube channels. Some of them burn out and become data scientists, and then others go off and become managers because they don't really know quite what they're doing. So you need to go in here with the right habits. And I say habits because this is a long-term game. And it's not really just about having a few skills, a few techniques here and there, a few tips and tricks. You need to craft the right habits, and those habits will mold you every day to have the right career trajectory. I have been working in this industry for over 10 years. Highly decorated, highly successful ex-Google Tech Lead. And I'm here to provide you my top 7 habits. Now, first of all though, I do want to mention that we do have a brand new sponsor today, and one that I'm really happy to introduce to you if you haven't heard of them already. That service is Blinkist. It's an app that summarizes books into 15 minutes for you. It's a lot like having a friend read an entire book for you and then giving you all of the highlights. And let's face it, in today's age, it can be hard to find the time to sit down and read. It's not easy when there's social media, blogs, news. So Blinkist is the only app that takes the best insights, all the need-to-know information from a book, and condenses that into 15 minutes for you to read or listen to. Personally, I think that many of the best books shouldn't take hours to plow through. Their messages can be told in just 15 minutes or so, but authors sometimes just go on and on about a topic. Blinkist is a very popular service. Millions of people are already using it, in fact. And they have a massive library ranging from self-help books, health, history, and business books, my favorite. Actually, on my drive today, I listened to The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's a great read, phenomenal book, named one of the most influential books of the 20th century, and I was able to get through that just in 15 minutes on my drive using the Blinkist app. The first 100 to check out Blinkist.com/techlead will get a free 1-week trial, unlimited access, and then if you continue, you'll also get 25% off the full membership. And keep in mind that this 7-day trial is completely free, no risk, you don't have to pay anything. So I would recommend you give it a try if you haven't already. It's a great service, Blinkist.com/techlead. Alright, so let's get into the tips here. And my first tip for you to really understand here is that programming is a physically demanding activity. I know that you think all you have to do is just sit down in a chair and it should be easy, but it's not quite like that. In fact, if you were to just sit in your chair the whole time, your body would deteriorate so fast, you would become a slouch, your back would become hunched over, your body would deteriorate into the shape of a chair, you'll become incredibly unattractive, your eyes will dry out from staring at the computer screen so long, your skin is not going to get enough sunshine such that it's going to become all pale and pasty, and as you get deeper into programming, you start moving into the basement, into buildings without windows. It just gets darker and darker for you until you eventually become like a Wendigo. So you need to understand that good exercise and good sleep are essential for any programmer. And this is something that I make sure I get for myself. Every day, if I were to go program for a long period of time, I'm going to make sure that I get my exercise in as well. And I also have a very good sleep routine. Not only that, I make sure that when I sit down, I sit with my back straight such that I have a good posture. Because it's pretty funny, if you were to go to some of these tech companies, you'll see a bunch of programmers, they look really weird. Their backs are all hunched over. Their necks have elongated as they're peering deeper and deeper into that computer screen. And their gaze, their eyes just seem to glaze over all the time. I take a break every 30 minutes. And I also drink a ton of fluids such that my eyes don't get too dry. And I think overall people just need to drink a lot of fluids in general. For my lunch breaks, I go out and I make sure I get some sunshine on my skin. You know, these are all good habits that you need to build up as a programmer to protect your physical body. It's kind of like a sports star. Sports stars have to go to the gym, hone their bodies, build their muscles, make it perfect for their game. And it's no different for programmers, except programmers are kind of on that opposite end of the scale where their bodies are deteriorating, completely weak, and almost falling apart, destroyed into the shape of a chair. And then they just have to try to protect their bodies and mold it back into like a normal baseline so that they don't appear too weird. Now my second tip for you is to have a get it done attitude. This is sort of kind of like getting 80% of the work and just shipping a product, you know, making sure that you're getting things out the door, moving things along, because programmers tend to have a tendency to just keep working on some strange little funny problem and just keep debugging something for hours and hours. It's not weird to hear programmers spend a whole week working on some small stupid little bug and just trying to untangle some little puzzle in their head, because it's just so fun and they just get stuck in this strange little loop that they're trying to figure out. You know, to be a really effective programmer, you need to keep your eye on the goal and then reverse engineer what you need to do to get your project out the door, to ship things. A lot of people like to over-romanticize the technology, the little tools that they have, the editors, the syntax coloring, arguing about Emacs versus Vim, getting their keyboard shortcuts all set up. You know, I don't try to configure my environment such that it's very weird. I like my environment actually to be pretty normal, and then I can be productive at any machine, because one of my goals is to be productive at any Apple store, such that if I'm out traveling remotely, I can go to any Apple store and start working right there. I'm going to feel right at home there. It's funny that us programmers have something called open source culture, where we're just going to start working on something that never really ships, right? There's no real end user, there's no product. We just work on some framework and then polish that framework over and over and add all sorts of functionality to it. But there's no actual way to ship this and get money from it. It never really ends up in the hands of users. It never really gets you any money. It's just something that you just polish over and over and you just keep doing that little thing over there. And that's not really results oriented, I guess I would say. In fact, if you were to work in the industry, you may find that it's quite opposite from open source culture, where a lot of the code is just duct taped, stringed up, hacked together, and then they just ship the product and make sure that the product looks good and that it's marketable. But it's not about refactoring the code over and over again until it looks beautiful and perfect, and then you can upload it to open source and then everyone's going to celebrate how beautiful your little piece of code looks. My third habit for you guys here is the concept of keep it simple. Consistency. Once you get into programming, you're going to find that there are hundreds, if not millions of ways to get things done. You can write a piece of code in 100 different ways, you can refactor it a ton of different ways, and then things become unmanageable when you or other people are all doing things in a different way, and then you're trying to get that code to interop with each other, or you're trying to read someone else's code, you're reading some code that you had written a while back, and you may find that you're not able to reuse code. You may find portions of a program written in many different ways. You may find views that are duplicated, and then you have like 5, 10, 20 copies of a certain view. Programming is one of those fields that is dominated by extremely arrogant people. What these people like to do is they like to over-engineer their code, they like to show off how smart they are, and then they try to make things so complicated and so twisted that nobody else can read the code except them, and then they feel some sort of pride about that. But over time, as you gain experience, you start to understand that all of this is working against you. You need to keep code as simple and consistent as possible. And that is what's going to help you be able to avoid crashes, avoid bugs, quickly be able to read and understand your code or other people's code, refactor things, quickly make changes, debug code faster, and it's just going to help you ship your product much more quickly. Habit number 4 is to have a consistent way to get in the zone. So the zone is one of the most productive times for a programmer when you're just coding and you're just swimming through that code and you lose track of time. And before you know it, you've written an entire program, and this is a period of time when you're not interrupted by anybody else, and you can just have long stretches of time, like say 3 hours or so, I would say, where you can just sit down and get some solid code in. And I make sure to budget my personal time and to set expectations for people around me such that people understand that I need a specific undisturbed period of time where I can be productive. Programming is just one of those fields where if you're interrupted every, say, 10-20 minutes, you're just not going to be able to get anything done because you need to build these larger abstractions, mental blocks in your head, and it just takes a longer period of time to get that stuff done. Habit number 5, always be learning, sharpening yourself, getting out of your comfort zone. It's very easy when you're coding to get stuck in a certain routine where you're just doing a certain small subset of an area. And you could just do that for a number of months or even years. And over time, you may find though that you're not really learning anything more, and then you become outdated. So you need to always be learning. And not only that, one of the key skills of programming is the ability to debug. And this has less to do with the experience you have and more with if you can learn an environment, understand how another program or system is put together, and then diagnose that to figure out what the root cause of some issue may be. My 6th habit for you is collaboration. When I began programming, I did a lot of things on my own, and I wanted to be that lone hacker, the lone programmer who would just hide away, but that's really not very effective. And it's all too common for me to see some engineer go off into the woods. A week or two later, they come back and they say they've just been stuck on something and they're not reaching out for help. And it just wastes huge amounts of time for them and it destroys their productivity. This is why collaboration may be important. It's quite common that other people within your vicinity or team may have some ideas, some clues about what could be causing some issue. Not only that, programming is very much a team sport. Right? You're often interacting with many other people's code. If you're pulling in some framework or if you're working within a company environment, you're most likely working with a whole bunch of other people, and then your code needs to integrate with other people's code. It's really like a sports team, right? So it's not really a solo activity, although on the outside it looks like you're just sitting there programming all by yourself. In reality, in that digital domain, you are a team player. And then my last and 7th habit for a highly effective programmer is to understand that programming may be a lonely activity, and you just need to get used to it. You need to get used to spending large amounts of time on your own. This career is not like being a doctor where you're just talking with tons of people. It's not like being a cashier or a salesperson or a manager or a consultant. In programming, it tends to be more of a solo activity. So if all of your friends are out partying, networking, going to parties, talking with other people, that's fine for them, right? Because maybe they're gonna go out and become salespeople, consultants. Maybe they just don't really need to spend 3 hours by themselves in front of a computer getting in the zone. But if you're set on trying to be a programmer, then you need to budget for that sort of experience for yourself, where you're just going to be by yourself spending 3 hours reading some documentation. It's funny that programming may be one of the loneliest careers. I'm not sure of any other career where people spend this much time alone, right? Like lawyers, for example, spend a lot of time dealing with people. Musicians, teachers, even scientists are often dealing with their colleagues, discussing research and things like that. But programming, you spend a lot of time in that digital world where you're oftentimes reading documentation, studying a piece of code, debugging something all by yourself. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that there's going to be a time when other people are out in the world socializing as they're doing their job, and you're not going to be doing that, right? You're going to be stuck at the computer debugging some piece of code that you've been trying to debug for weeks. And that's kind of where programming comes in, and you just need to have that proper expectation. So any career has its highs and lows, its good points and its bad points. And programming is just one of those careers that I think demands a little bit more of your personal time, just you, not you and your friends, just you. So just set those right expectations, budget for that, and you'll be all set. Let me know what your top habits are for programmers. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
This is the MSI Trident X, a compact gaming desktop without concessions. At a volume of only 10 liters, this console-sized gaming rig is the perfect solution for gamers on the go and who want the best performance at any occasion. The Trident X is powered by a 9th generation Intel Core processor with up to 8 physical cores, making sure it can handle multitasking simultaneously. It also features an MSI GeForce RTX 20 series graphics card for blazing gaming performance. This card supports ray tracing technology and is ready to provide you the ultimate gaming performance. The Trident X gaming desktop provides striking aesthetics, with interchangeable tempered glass and steel panels, as well as RGB lighting. The Silent Storm Cooling 3 separates the CPU, VGA and power supply in different chambers with optimized airflow, making sure your system stays cool while you're gaming. The Trident X is small in size, but big when it comes to possibilities. Even the side panels are designed to be easily exchanged for alternatives. Due to its user-friendly internal design, the CPU, memory, GPU, storage are seamlessly upgradable, including a turbo M.2 and 2 2.5-inch slots for additional SSD and hard disk. You will find many connectivity options. This includes USB Type-C, Intel Gigabit LAN, and 7.1 HD audio with hanmerick 3 support for the next level in audio immersion. The Trident X also offers Intel wireless AC Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. If you want to learn more about all the other features of the Trident X gaming desktop, please visit the product page.
Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and I've been using this as my main work office studio monitor for the past month. It's 49 inches, has a 5K resolution, an IPS panel, and a super ultra wide 32:9 aspect ratio. So it's like having two normal 16:9 Quad HD monitors side by side, but obviously without a huge bezel in the middle and only half the number of cables. So the LG 49WL95C also supports HDR10, it has a USB-C port in addition to HDMI and DisplayPort, stereo 10-watt speakers, picture-in-picture modes, and an ambient light sensor. All in, you're looking at about $1,500, which is a lot of money, but I mean, you are getting a lot of monitor. So when LG reached out and offered to send this thing out, it was actually really good timing because I'd just come from testing another super ultra wide monitor, a Philips, which you can check out my review of, it's on my channel, and I loved, but the problem is, I broke it. It fell off the stand, which was a bit faulty, so then I was without super ultra wide. But now, LG came to the rescue, and this is taking up, well, my entire desk basically. Fast forward a little over a month and I've been using this as my main work monitor, and so I wanted to share with you guys my experience of using it so far. So when I first set this thing up, my first thought was, wow, this thing is stunning in both sheer size and also the design. But my second thought was, it seems a bit narrow, perhaps. And I think that's because it has such narrow bezels, especially on the top and the sides. And so with that super wide 32:9 aspect ratio, it did look a little bit narrow, and I would love an option to have, say, a 32:10 screen, so there's a little bit more space at the top and bottom. That would just be my preference, but I do also realize that with this size and resolution and the panel that we are really at the cutting edge of technology. There is a solution though if you have very deep pockets and one 49-inch monitor isn't enough. You could just get a second one. LG have moved the OSD joystick to the right-hand side rather than underneath, so you can actually now stack two of these together on top of each other. That seems pretty crazy to me, but if you're a stock trader, a coder, or graphic designer, or just someone who needs even more screen real estate, it is cool that you have the option. For me, one of the standout features of this monitor is the design. It's one of the best looking displays I've ever used. It is heavy, but it feels solid and well made with that brushed metal stand. If you have used one of LG's more recent monitors, then you'll be familiar with this arc metal stand. And one thing I do love about it is that I can push it right to the back of my desk and it doesn't actually protrude that much. My desk isn't that wide, it's about 60 centimeters. I can actually push it right back and I still have a little over half of my desk, and you get quite a lot of flexibility. You can swivel, tilt and adjust the height, or even Visa wall mount it. So it's a lot more flexible than most other monitors like this. I was also pleasantly surprised to see there's no bulky power brick. They must have found room to include it internally, so there's just a simple 3-pin power cable that goes straight to the wall outlet. You also get an ambient light sensor up top, which you can enable in the settings, so it automatically adjusts the brightness based on the lighting around you. It's a cool idea, but if I'm honest, it didn't work that well for me, often dimming the display even in my bright studio. I can't fault the speakers though. You get stereo 10-watt speakers with what LG call rich bass, and they are among the best I've ever heard from built-in speakers. Although obviously you can't beat a good pair of headphones or a proper external speaker setup. So I'm using this monitor for pretty much everything: work, watching videos, gaming, although LG aren't really aiming it at gamers. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from loading up a bit of Battlefield 5 or Apex Legends and being completely immersed in the game. Along with that gentle curve of the screen, playing games with this aspect ratio and high resolution looks incredible. Although the downsides are it's limited to 60 Hz, there's no FreeSync or G-Sync, and if you do want to push that 5120 by 1440 res with high settings, well, you'll need a pretty beefy PC. But whatever you're using it for, that screen size, that aspect, you just have so much space. Having a Premiere Pro timeline fill up the entire screen is incredible, and I can have a bigger space for all my project files and video clips. I genuinely feel like this speeds up my editing. Although if I do have a lot going on, I'll jump into LG's on-screen control app and maybe split it into 4 areas for, say, Google Docs, email, YouTube, and a folder tab. And I mean, with a monitor this size, it's not totally crazy to have an 8-way split. Now, the monitor doesn't have a physical KVM switch, but with LG's dual controller software, you can basically do the same thing. Download the program on each device, it'll work with up to 4, and then select one as the main PC and then one as the sub-PC. And make sure they're both connected to the same network so they can see each other. It's all done wirelessly. Then in the OSD, select picture by picture and choose the layout you want. That's it. You can then share the same mouse and keyboard on both devices and even transfer files by dragging them to the little green box at the edge of the screen. It works really well. And of course it also supports regular picture-in-picture mode. So you can hook up, say, your laptop and then go to the OSD and then select which layout and size you want. And it worked over both HDMI and USB-C. Now, the LG's USB-C isn't Thunderbolt 3, which is a bit disappointing, but you can still output from your laptop and use the monitor as an external display at its full 5K res at 60 Hz, so that is all you need. Plus, the USB-C also carries 85 watts of power, so it'll charge your laptop while you've got it hooked up. It's not all about the size though, the quality of the display is really important as well. And at this size and resolution, we're looking at 108 ppi, so it's the same sharpness as you get on a standard 27-inch Quad HD monitor. The IPS panel has great viewing angles, which given the size of this thing is pretty important, and it covers 100% of the sRGB and 79% of the Adobe RGB color gamuts. Brightness peaks at 350 nits, which is good, although it's not really bright enough to give you a great HDR experience. I do love this thing. It's close to being my perfect monitor. As a full-time video producer and occasionally when I have a spare minute a bit of a gamer, I can't fault the design, the display quality, the speakers, the ports and connections, although Thunderbolt 3 would have been nice. So I don't think this is going to get replaced anytime soon. I'm definitely switching to this. What do you think though? Would you consider buying a super ultra wide like this? Let me know in the comments below, and if you do fancy buying this particular model, you can find links in the description. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A big thanks to LG for sending out the monitor. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video and like to see more of my stuff, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.
Welcome to Onkyo USA's How-To video series. Today we are going to be taking you through the basic setup for the Onkyo HTS 3800 home theater system. Out of the box, the HTS 3800 system is set up for a 5.1 surround sound and comes complete with an AV receiver, a remote, a center speaker, a front left and right speaker, a surround left and right speaker, as well as a subwoofer. Position your speakers as follows. The front left, right, and center speakers should all be positioned at ear height and directed toward the listening area. The rear surround speakers should be placed just above ear height and set to the back, left, and right of the listening area. The subwoofer can be placed anywhere in the front of the room. When connecting your speakers to the receiver, the wires are color-coded to easily identify which wires to use with each corresponding speaker. For ease of installation, the terminals on the back of the receiver and the speakers themselves have been labeled accordingly. Simply push open the tab and insert the exposed wire strand into the opening and release the tab to secure the connection. Once your speakers are set up, plug your TV into the receiver using an HDMI cable and turn on both the receiver and your television. The HTS 3800 receiver features an intuitive graphical rear panel for simple connection to a number of devices including Blu-ray players, game consoles, and streaming devices. Your speakers should be calibrated by default. However, if you wish to modify them manually, you can do so by entering the menu under Speaker Setup. Now that all devices are properly attached, you are all set to enjoy endless entertainment from your Onkyo home theater surround sound system. For more information on speaker setup, please consult the manual that came with your home theater package or visit our support site. For information on all our products, head over to OnkyoUSA.com. Thanks for watching and thank you for choosing Onkyo.
Hoogwaardige 4K handycam met goede beeldstabilisatie. Ik heb het hier over de FDR AX53 van Sony. Zijn vandaag hier in Den Bosch, gaan we even uitproberen. De AX53 heeft een 2.5 inch Exmor-R CMOS sensor. Ook is hij voorzien van een heel mooi zijsobjectief met een T-Star coating en het heeft een 20 keer optisch zoombereik. Dat is een brandpuntafstand van 26,8 mm tot 536 mm. De lichtgevoeligheid van de lens is diafragma 2 oplopend naar 3.8. Ook in deze camera van Sony zit daar de Bions XZ processor. Die zien we terug in de nieuwere modellen van Sony, erg sterke processor. Ook is hij voorzien van een 5.1 audio systeem en is deze camera nu voorzien van de nieuwe Balanced Optical Steady Shot. Sony geeft daarmee aan dat hij echt beter moet zijn dan de standaard Steady Shot. Ik voel het ook echt als je hem heen en weer laat gaan. Body van de camera, ik moet zeggen, voelt prettig aan. De zoeker, het is hartstikke mooi natuurlijk dat het erop zit. Het is wel fijn, ook met het zonlicht en ook dat hij nog kan kantelen. Dat is ook erg mooi. Verder wat opmerkelijk is aan de camera is dat hier een manual ring aan zit. Je kunt daar door middel van aan de zijkant heb je de knop om de manual bediening toe te kennen. Dus dan kun je zeggen van ik wil graag de diafragma daarmee doen. Je kunt de manual focus mee doen. Dus je geeft een functie mee aan de ring. En dat kun je ten alle tijden kun je dat aanpassen. Dat werkt hartstikke goed. En dan kun je daar een mooi manual bediening doen. Hij heeft natuurlijk touchscreen, dus je kunt ook gewoon door middel van de touchscreen je camera bedienen. Mocht je gebruik willen maken van een externe microfoon, dan kan dat natuurlijk ook. Voor de Sony microfoons hebben ze daar de hot shoe voor met de elektronische contactpunten. En je hebt aan de zijkant ook een 3,5 mm jack ingang voor een externe microfoon. Dit is dus hoe Den Bosch klinkt op 4K 2.0 stereo. Ik zit nou even te kijken hoe dichtbij is nou 20 keer. En dat is behoorlijk hoor. En heel mooi voor het filmen, dat je de details eruit kunt halen. En ook zo werken door de zoeker. Het kantelen van de zoeker. Het is wel fijn dat ik dus op deze manier toch zo mooi het pand in kaart kan brengen. Het werkt heel goed. Het is wel, ja, je moet even goed je ogen tegenaan houden. Want de zoeker, je merkt dat het zoeker, het zit wat... En je ziet hem ook echt fysiek wat dieper liggen. Nou, ik zie hier een mooi moment om even de digitale zoom op deze camera te testen. Die torens erachterin. Behoorlijke afstand, dus ik ben even benieuwd van hoeveel detail houden we over op het moment dat ik zeg van ik ga hem even helemaal inzoomen tot 250 keer digitaal. Ik heb hem nu even opgezet, digitaal inzoomen tot 250 keer aangezet. En ook de stabilisatie heb ik op actief gezet. Nou, wat ik ook heel erg fijn vind bij de camera is dat je focus peaking hebt. Ik heb de focus peaking nu aangezet. Dan met rode lijnen, zodat je snel kunt zien wat scherp is. En dat werkt heel fijn als je gebruik maakt van het LCD-scherm. Dan gaan we eens even kijken hoe ver we komen. Zo, dat is niet normaal. Oké, dit is helemaal de max. Oké, het trilt wel. Ik heb ook natuurlijk niet een hele stabiele hand. Het is zo ver, het inzoomen. Het is enorm hoe ver je komt. Nee, je zult wel zien dat ik een beetje heen en weer ga. Dit zou je dus wel moeten een statief, dat raad ik wel aan. Ook al is je heb je die stabiliteit aangezet op actief. Het is, ja, dit is best wel heftig om het zo uit de hand te kunnen doen. De camera neemt op een 4K en Full HD. Als je 4K opneemt, doet hij dat in XAVCS 100 Mbits. Het is mooi ook, je kunt timelapse ermee doen en ga je multicam werken, dan kan dat ook, want hij is ook voorzien van timecode. Een mooie feature op deze camera is dat hij een dual recording doet. Wat betekent dat nou eigenlijk? Hij neemt dan op XAVCS, de 4K, en hij neemt ook op AVC HD. En dat kun je dus delen met je telefoon, via de social media. Dus gewoon echt een kleiner bestand, wat het makkelijker maakt om het inderdaad naar je telefoon toe te halen of naar je tablet. En ook gewoon inderdaad online te delen. Ja, een hele mooie feature. Nou, ik zet nu even de stabiliteit uit, want ik ga hem gebruiken nu op het statief. Ik wil namelijk echt even hoge kwaliteit beeld maken. Niet afgeleid worden door stabilisatie wat doorloopt, want ik wil puur even kijken naar de kwaliteit. Ik gebruik hem nu dus op het statief en met het in- en uitzoomen vind ik het persoonlijk eigenlijk wel fijner werken met de touchscreen. Want de touchscreen dat heeft één snelheid, dus je hoeft niet bang te zijn dat je in één keer wat sneller gaat. Met de bovenop kun je dus net wat sneller gaan, afhankelijk hoe hard je hem indrukt, de knop. Bij de touchscreen werkt het heel goed, ik heb zelfs mijn handschoen aan, dat werkt gewoon. En voor de opname zie ik ook gewoon dat het heel soepel, met dezelfde constante snelheid in- en uitzoomt. Dat kan wel voor hele mooie rustige beelden zorgen. Dat in combinatie met je statief natuurlijk ideaal. Hij stabiliseert echt netjes als ik zo loop, helemaal stil. Dat doet hij heel goed. Dat is wel gaaf hoor. Wat wel mooi is dat hij dus, ik werk nu even met, ik heb de manual ring heb ik nou gezet op exposure. Het mooie daarvan is dus dat je gewoon kunt onder- en overbelichten, maar dat doet hij zo geleidelijk. Het is dus heel mooi om mee te spelen. Het komt een beetje over alsof een soort van lijkt wel een ingebouwde ND-filter, dat effect. Gewoon echt traploos gaat hij gewoon inderdaad je belichting. Dus je kunt de belichting over een underexposure. Dat is ideaal. Ik had net even die laaghangende zon. Dan kun je daar heel mooi mee spelen. Nou, we hebben even dus kunnen schieten vandaag met de AX53 van Sony. Ik moet zeggen, het is goed bevallen. Er zijn een aantal punten die zijn opgevallen. Hij heeft een goed sterk stabilisatiesysteem. Het stabilisatiesysteem is ook mooi dat je dat dus kan versterken op het moment dat je gaat werken met de digitale zoom van 250 keer. Verder wat ook erg goed bevalt is de manual ring. En met het feit dat je hem dus kunt instellen op diverse opties, merk ik gewoon dat het net even het maken van een mooie, goede video net wat prettiger maakt. Je hebt het 5.1 surround geluid. Vind het eerlijk gezegd wel jammer. Ik had het graag natuurlijk teruggezien op ook 4K resolutie. Nu alleen dus op HD. En ja, dat wil je natuurlijk ook bij 4K. Wel kun je fijn de scherpte checken door met de focus peaking te werken. Dat werkt wel heel goed. Dan zie je meteen met bijvoorbeeld rode lijnen waar zit die scherpte. Accuduur. Altijd spannend bij videocamera's. Het is een behoorlijk blok als je ook kijkt. Goed bevallen. Het duurt best wel lang voordat hij echt op is. We hebben nou zitten schieten en hij is nog steeds niet leeg. Dus het gaat, die accuduur, daar ben ik wel erg tevreden over. Als je het menustructuur doorloopt, dan zie je eigenlijk al dat ze hebben een bepaalde layout gekozen, wat niet gebruikelijk is. Ook is het zo dat er zoveel functies op zitten dat je soms echt wel moet zoeken naar hetgeen wat jij zoekt. En met name bij het terugkijken, daar kwamen we op een gegeven moment achter dat op het moment dat jij een video maakt, stel je maakt een video op 4K en je gaat die terugkijken, dan kan dat ook als je inderdaad je camera op de modus van 4K hebt staan. Dan stel je voor dat je daarna op een gegeven moment op HD gaat filmen en je gaat dan weer terugkijken, dan zie je eigenlijk alleen maar de HD resolutievideo's. Dus persoonlijk, dat had echt beter gekund. Maar als je kijkt naar technisch, de camera doet het erg goed en heeft echt alle kwaliteit in huis.